it's on again. Better get ready to climb back on the limb. Come on, man, shake the dust off the move. Don't yawn and prolong what you got to do. And if you've been going through any negative phase, well, here's your opportunity for turning the page. Today's a new chapter. Right to fly and make it end with the wind. Give it all you got. But first, you gotta rise, look alert and alive. Get the dirt from your eyes and work for the prize. Get it done, cause we ain't even trying to lose. Let's go, man, don't hit snooze. It's time to wake up. 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 Tick tock, tick, come on. Tick tock, tick, let's go. Tick tock, tick, come on. Tick tock, tick. You can't wait around for someone's approval. Now is the moment to begin your renewal, man. Feel alive with the vibe, energize of the folks who you're coming by the white in your eyes. Hey, another day might waste away. Come on, let's get it going, don't make delays. So bring me along and lift your arm high. Like Georgia, we get a piece of the pie. Beginning with the step, you'll get in it in a sec. You'll be winning like you never did it when you overslept. So right this minute, get right with it. What time is it? It's time to wake up.
Good morning, Birmingham. Today is Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. The time is now 9:39 a.m. I call to order the meeting of the Birmingham City Council. Our invocation today will be led by Reverend Ronald E. Calhoun, pastor of the New Salem Baptist Church, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilor Crystal Smitherman. If you're willing and able, please stand and join us.
Would you bow for a moment of prayer? Our Father and our God, for the blessings of this day, we thank you. You allowed us to go to sleep in September, and you woke us up in October. We thank you. And Lord, we bow in humble submission to you. We need you in a mighty way. We pray for the city of Birmingham in a special way. We pray that you unite the mayor and the council in a unified body. We plead the blood of Jesus over this city. There's power in the blood. We call on you to eradicate all hatred, the murdering spirit. Use us in a mighty way. Have mercy upon us, for mercy suits our case. Guide us, direct us, bless us. We give your name glory, honor, and majesty. When we don't know what to do, may we focus our eyes on you, for you are the answer to the world's problem. It is in Jesus' name we do pray and give thanks. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Reverend Calhoun. This morning, councilors, our president is on business travel, so we pray for safe travel for him. And Madam Clerk, if you'll read the roll.
Yes, ma'am. Councilmember Abbott. Present. Councilmember Clark. Present. Councilmember Moore. Councilmember Smitherman. Good morning. Good morning. Councilmember Tate. Here. Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Woods. Good morning. Council President O'Quinn. Council President Pro Tem Alexander.
Good morning, President. Council, the minutes are not ready from the meetings of September 3rd, 2024 through September 24th, 2024. Now we have communications from the mayor.
Madam Pro Tem, thank you so much. Good morning to you. Good morning to your colleagues. Good morning to the public, and it's good to see everyone this morning. Madam President, I have more of an extended updates to give today. One is, again, this is probably something you'll see us continue to do weekly, but I think it's extremely important based on the success we had last year of community members, residents volunteers stepping up to the plate to make sure we as a village could do everything necessary for our children to be at a minimum of grade level as it relates to finishing the third grade. That being the case, the city of Birmingham once again is teaming up with Birmingham City Schools and the community with a shared goal, and that is enhancing student reading skills. And so to continue to push for ensuring every third grader in our city, at our Birmingham City Schools can read at or above level, we want to encourage you to sign up for Page Pals. You can find more information at bhammufirst.org. Again, that's bhammufirst.org, or simply call 205-320-0879. A couple more notes. The city of Birmingham, as always, and it's extremely important, is to uplift and bring awareness to breast cancer. So as you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This Friday, October 4th, Food Truck Friday will return. Actually, it will turn pink. So Food Truck Friday will be pink out here, short 20th. As the city of Birmingham kicks off Breast Cancer Awareness Month with not only food trucks, but a pink parade. Again, a pink parade. Will include a DJ, breast cancer information, and more from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, a pink parade in Lynn Park with breast cancer survivors and supporters will begin at 12:05 p.m. and take place in the park, and participation is free. And I really want to encourage you, survivor, family member of a survivor, supporter, friend of a survivor, church member, colleague, co-worker of a survivor. This is a time we not only uplift survivors, but continue to champion those who lost their fight, as well as get information out about screening and so many other things we can do to provide credible information to community members who need awareness about breast cancer. We all know Joe Mentor. Some of us know him from being out in front of Short 20th. Others know him if you know what Mason City is about. I'm pointing to Crystal Smitherman. And Joe Mentor is, he's a gem in our city, let's say that. But I have some great news about Mr. Mentor. There will be a new groundbreaking exhibition in Titusville celebrating the renowned artist Joe Mentor. It is titled, Joe Mentor is Here. Joe Mentor is Here. It is an art installation being produced in partnership with Create Birmingham, 1504 Narrative Studios, and Navigate Affordable Housing Partners. It will be the first of its kind in Birmingham and feature never before exhibited work from Mr. Mentor's personal collection. And as you all know, my man has a real collection. The exhibition will be open this Thursday, October 3rd through Sunday, October 20th. Let's be sure to support him. There also will be 3 free public events centered around everything Joe Mentor is Here. And for more information, you can go to createbirmingham.org to learn more. Again, please visit Create Birmingham to learn more about the installation rated to Joe Mentor is Here. Ms. Abbott and Ms. Smitherman, again, I'm looking at you two, but I'm including your other colleagues. One of my favorite food festivals is here this week, and that is the Greek Festival. This is the 51st annual Greek Food Festival. Is set for October 3rd through 5th. It is Birmingham's oldest and most anticipated cultural event that offers an abundance of delicious Greek cuisine, music, and dancing. And for more information, please visit bhamgreekfestival.com. Again, that is bhamgreekfestival.com. Now, Madam Pro Tem and Council, for this last presentation, I ask that you bear with me. It will take some time, but I think it's extremely important related to a conversation I know that 10 of us have been having for the last 4 years, and it seems to be it is of utmost importance to the community as it relates to what are we doing about it, and that is around policing in our city. And so I think one of the best ways I can frame it is, as a son of Birmingham, as a kid growing up here, I've actually seen all sides of what I would call law enforcement. One, as a child growing up, my father was an actual state police officer for 40 years, 39 years and 10 months to be exact. And it was funny when I became a city employee and people saw my last name was Woodfin, they said, the question was, is either Ralph Woodfin your brother or dad? I said both. In this case, Ralph Sr. is my father. He worked with Birmingham police for many years. And then I saw it another side. I saw it on the side of actually being a lawyer for the city of Birmingham. And my star witness in cases I tried for 7 years, whether in municipal court or circuit court in front of a jury, I had to work with Birmingham police officers. So well before being mayor for almost a decade, I got a chance to work right alongside of Birmingham police officers for a significant amount of time and see firsthand the work they do. And in the unfortunate, like so many other families in the city, I got a chance from our family being that we lost our loved one, my brother, to homicide. And when you have to work with police that close, a detective and walking through a case, that can be a long journey. But then again, you get to see this other side outside of patrol, what it is to engage Birmingham Police Department. And I say all of that to say that this city cannot do what it does without us supporting our Birmingham officers. In order for Birmingham Police Department to be the best version of itself, we have to continue to make investments. In order for the city to be the best version of itself, we need Birmingham police officers. And I'm not just talking about new recruits or hiring. I'm also talking about doing the necessary things to support our existing officers. And so there are a couple things we want to share today at a high level, and then I'll have Deputy Chief Malden come up and present some more things, and I'll come behind him and share next steps. But with that in mind, again, our conversation this morning is centered around something that has been a focal point, not just the last 2 weeks, but something we've been focused on for the last 4 years in lieu of police changes nationwide in 2020. That being the case, you all should have received this document. Have you received it? Paper, you don't have this? The sheet that Chief Mitchell is passing out for you gives you a high level of some of the things we want to do. And before I talk about what we want to do, I think it's important to talk about what we've done and what we're doing. One of the things we've done over the last several years is increase police pay by 15%. That's significant when you talk about investments in your police force. Another thing we've done, and you all just approved this, but we got to continue to phase this in at a accelerated level, is more take-home cars for existing officers. Then we started a $5,000 bonus for hiring in new officers for all employees, but this was especially for our first responders. We did a 12-week paid parental leave for our employees, and a host of other things we've continued to do to support and enhance policing as it relates to recruitment in our city. This morning I present to you that we need to be more aggressive. We need to add on to the things we're already doing around recruitment and retention. So at a high level, it includes a retention bonus for existing officers. It includes accelerating our take-home car program to get more cars, not only for existing officers who live within our city limits, but to make sure that presence is amplified in our neighborhoods. In addition to that, you've all already approved a part-time force. Just to give detail, the whole idea is centered around events, runs, and everything else you can think of to not take existing patrol officers off their beats to work events. In addition to that, we want to increase the recruiting bonus. So I told you we started a few years back, it was $5,000. Today I want to tell you we need to increase our recruiting bonus to $10,000. In addition to that, we need to be aggressive with the recruiting campaign marketing strategy, as well as a police training program, talent acquisition recruitment, We need to engage in relocation assistance. Believe it or not, that is what other forces are doing as it relates to being able to recruit officers from our area, as well as a referral incentive for our existing officers. And something extremely important, because we talk about this externally with the community, but internally we need this for our employees as well, particularly our first responders, and that is a mental health observance leave of at least 8 hours. That being said, at this time, I would like Deputy Chief Malden to come before you and present at a higher level some of these things I've just shared. With that, Chief Malden.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. As the Mayor stated, I'm Rob Malden. I serve as the Deputy Chief of Administrative Operations for the Birmingham Police Department. And today we stand before you. We want to briefly go over the things that we're doing that's going to align with our future success. So what we're already doing, we hire at the age of 19. We have a lateral transfer and lateral entry program. We have a rehire program, a bilingual skills premium pay. So we pay people that speak other languages. We have a competitive salary, a wellness program, 20-year retirement, a retirement drop plan, education premium compensation, as well as we are the largest department in the state. So of course we have more opportunities for career advancement than anybody else in the state. We have a $1,200 uniform allowance for our officers. We have 12 weeks of paid parental leave, as well as domestic partnership benefits, and also longevity compensation. But one thing that we've seen is what we're doing is good, but it's important of how we engage the community and get the information out of our plans and our strategic plan moving forward. Just this past weekend, we saw where we had 78 recruits that came to the Birmingham Police Academy to be involved in our physical agility test. That's more than we've had in the last 4 years, since 2019. Out of those 78, we had 37 that passed the physical agility screening. We're making great progress, but our goal is to make sure that we're competitive in reference to when we get in the room with our surrounding neighboring states and agencies. We have to make sure that we dominate when it comes down to recruiting and retention in the city of Birmingham. So as the mayor stated, it's proposed that we increase our hiring bonus to $10,000. Also, when we go to our recruiting fairs, we see that people come to the city of Birmingham and take away our best and brightest recruits, going back to Dallas, Atlanta, our neighboring states, because we don't have a relocation bonus here in the city of Birmingham. So we're proposing $5,000 if you live 80 miles outside of the city limits. That's touching areas like Montgomery and Huntsville. So we can make sure that we're providing an opportunity and incentive as they get through the academy, they can have sustainable living. As I stand here today, I can say I was recruited by a Birmingham police officer. Nobody knows who's better to do the job than those that's already doing it. So we're proposing a recruitment referral incentive of $1,000 for anybody that successfully recruit a candidate that passes the police academy as well as field training. Also, the quarterly retention bonus of $2,500 for all of our officers with BPD. These efforts will assist our officers with additional financial stability and make us competitive with our nearby agencies that's already offering these incentives. Currently, just to bring you some information, the Birmingham Police Department is one of 3 agencies that do not have a take-home car program in the Metro Birmingham area. We've lost countless numbers of our recruits and candidates and active duty officers due to not having a take-home vehicle program. So we're proposing that our patrol officers are equipped with take-home vehicles. Moving forward, as we talk about officers, one of the main concerns is mental health. Mental health is a #1 priority when it comes down to wellness for our officers. So that's where the 8 hours of mental health leave come into place. Our police officers often face high levels of stress, trauma, emotional exhaustion, and believe it or not, that caters to how we encounter and how we interact with our community members. So we want to make sure that our officers are well when they're addressing the community and meeting their needs. So how we engage our community is very important, but we have to put some strategic solutions in place in order to remain and be successful and have sustainability. So we're proposing a strong campaign of workforce solutions. What that is we want to have a strategic campaign. We know that everybody probably watched the Alabama and Georgia game this weekend. One thing that I noticed, and I got kind of jealous, I saw another agency come across the screen. It wasn't BPD. We have to be competitive where people across the nation can see what we have to offer here in the city of Birmingham. So we want to invoke a strong, aggressive media strategy and where we can show people what we have to offer here with the Birmingham Police Department. We also want to invoke talent acquisition recruiters. What that means is they'll be paired with our current recruiters. We're utilizing our police officers to do the job of subject matter experts. They're putting forth a valiant effort. However, we want to expand our reach where we can reach stronger geographical areas outside of just the city. So we want to pair them with our current recruiters to bring in talented people that have the skills and abilities that we need here in the city of Birmingham. We also want to introduce 2 new programs. That's the Police Trainee Program and the Police Reserve Program. Police trainee program, we see often where our officers are taken by other municipalities because they can onboard quicker than we can. So they'll begin our process, and however, they'll go to another agency due to the time lapse that it takes for us to get them onboarded to our academy class due to it not starting right away. So we propose that with the police training program, this allows potential candidates and recruits to provide employment and training opportunities before the academy starts, preventing us from losing candidates. They can start on things like the legal exams, firearms qualifications, and even if they're not at those demanding standards of our APO standards in reference to physical agility, they can start training with our fitness instructors. That will set them up for success as they matriculate through the academy and also introduce them to the culture of BPD. The part-time reserve program, as the mayor mentioned, the city is growing with more vibrant events, and it's going to continue to grow. We have to staff those events where our community members feel safe and secure. So what we're proposing is allowing officers from other agencies to work alongside with BPD officers where they can serve in a capacity. It also allows us to strengthen our relationships with our mutual partners. In closing, recruitment and retention is one of the top priorities in the city of Birmingham and also across the nation. However, what we've seen, it has been definitely underfunded because we focus on what we should be focusing on is violent crime. But it's prevalent, the challenges we face here in Birmingham with violent crime. Regardless of the circumstances, the city of Birmingham has been resilient and also the police department. With the support of city leadership, it is no doubt, and I stand here in full confidence, that we will lead the charge in dominating recruitment and retention for a safer, more stronger community. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your continued support.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Malden. And as a note, Chief Thurman is out. He could not be with us today. However, I want to pick up on a word that Deputy Chief Malden used. He used the word resilience. Resiliency is something that is much, not just needed now, but I know this community has it in spades. This past Saturday is an example of people stepping up and doing their part. He told you 87 people showed up for that physical agility test, a number we had not seen probably since 2019. That tells you that we're finally getting over this hump and over this curve of what happened in policing nationwide since 2020. So it's going to be important for us to continue to make the necessary financial investments in recruiting and retention to actually make sure that we have appropriate staffing, particularly as it relates to patrol throughout our city. And so there are a couple other things I want to do. One is, I want to be very clear about this. Never underestimate the resolve of Birmingham Police Department. This department has been through a lot. but I am very proud of the men and women who serve. We are responsible for continuing to invest not just in their mental health, not just in making sure financially we can appropriately support them, not just in technology and vehicles, but the intangible morale as well. So doing the necessary things we can to hold the line to keep the men and women we have is extremely important in this conversation. And a very simple yet important thing you have to do and say is thank you. And so you see a Birmingham police officer, uplift them and thank them for their service, because they get beat up for stuff that they're not even responsible for. And so we're very grateful for and appreciate the work they do. But I also want to say this to a community that is hurting right now, to a community that is grieving, to a community that has a lot of questions. There was ever a time for you to step up. There was ever a time for you to provide and or give service to your community. Now is that time. We are hiring. We're excited about this November 19th class. Where right now we already have over 50 candidates. There's a next class in January. So over this last quarter of the year, we will be extremely aggressive and engaging for this January class. That being said, we want to walk this down. We want to walk this out related to this plan to no particular order, but to Crystal Smitherman, who chairs the Budget and Finance Committee, to Councilor Tate, who chairs Public Safety Committee, and to all the councilors, those who are here or not here. There's a request I have that if you all will grant today, this afternoon, a time that works for you, an emergency meeting related to having a joint Public Safety and Budget and Finance Committee where Deputy Chief Maulding, BPD, as well as Finance and Chaz and others, we can go in detail about what we're presenting here, because we don't want to wait. We don't think we have the luxury to wait, but at a minimum, let's get through a committee meeting at an accelerated pace where we go into detail, address your questions, address your concerns, detail this out, tell you where the money will come from, tell you how the plan goes in detail, et cetera. If you all can grant that, that will really be great. I heard this information this morning. I like it, so I'm ready to run down the hill with it. We have our FOP president here as well, who I literally pulled in about 9:20, so we both heard it this morning. But we're ready to champion this and get this in front of you in detail. So if you can honor that, that would be great. The last note I will say is this. This is a continuing conversation. It goes well beyond this morning. It will go well beyond this afternoon. And if it so pleases you, it will go well beyond next Tuesday. We have to continue to be aggressive in recruiting. We have to continue aggressive in holding the line of keeping our existing force that we have. And with that, Madam Pro Tem, I yield the floor back to you and your colleagues.
Thank you, Mayor Whitman. I know that there are multiple questions that councilors have, so we are grateful for this opportunity that we will meet. We are checking on public notification that we have to make for this type of meeting. And Councilor Clark, is that what you were going to question? Yes. And so we'll verify that, because we do have to make certain notification to the public when we meet in this setting. Yes, Councilor Clark?
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. I was just advised that the emergency meeting could be set with 7 hours notice, but a special call would need 24 hours notice. Okay. And in the case of the emergency, we would have to state what the emergency is. So okay. I don't know if 7 hours would.
Thank you for that clarification. We'll get our two chairs. What is the clarification? 1 hour. So we're going to be good. Yeah. We're going to allow our chairs to get together. Are you in agreement, okay, madams? All right. So, Mayor Whitman, we do feel we'll probably have that opportunity to have that conversation today. If you'll just allow us to be yes, sure our times are available, and then we'll be able to set that up.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I don't know if we have questions that you want to ask now, or would you like to just wait for our meeting and then we could get that information together? But are there any questions or comments based on what we've been presented so far? Anyone? Madam Abbott?
Mine is very simple. I just wanted to know if we could have a copy of Deputy Chief Malden's list of things that they're doing.
Yes,
Will we receive that this afternoon?
in full detail, I think at least, what, 13 pages maybe? 12, 13 pages, full detail.
Okay.
That's good, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Smitherman?
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Yeah, that would be super helpful to give to our neighborhood associations and when we talk to constituents. And I really want to publicly thank you for going out into 5 Point South and talking to the businesses. That really showed that you care, and that you're very concerned about what's happening in that entertainment district. Because I went to talk to some businesses as well. I'm sure you heard the same thing, that, people are still very scared. But they were understanding about the nature of that killing. And I've told you this already about the request, but I'm going to say it publicly. There was a request for you to look into the business compliance for the business licenses for all of the businesses in 5 Point South. So I know that's something that we're working on as well. But I did have some questions about the items listed. Who are the agencies with the part-time reserve officer program? Are you talking about like different municipalities?
Yeah,
or-
so that's open. Think county sheriffs
Okay, good.
who may want a part-time. Think any surrounding municipality within Jefferson County. So what I want you all to imagine is, recall World Games, where every single agency participated in providing what we would call manpower presence for events. So if you were at Legion Field, it was a state trooper, right? If it was name a municipality, everybody worked an event. I think the county sheriffs worked the area around the BJCC. And then literally statewide, all forms of agencies works. So now I want you all in real time throughout the course of the next year and so on and so on. I want you to think any run where we've seen this conversation and this rub, right? There's been a rub around police presence and runs. Well,
Yeah.
with police staffing, what happens is if you want that type of manpower at that level, where do you think it's pulled from? It's pulled from patrol. So the ability to be in the best position, whether it's a run or an event or anything of that magnitude that is not actual patrol, but an actual event, then the idea is to have part-time officers. Now, they've been working out the detail since you all have approved that program to walking out policies, procedures, uniform, et cetera, that they can explain more in detail this afternoon as well.
Okay, that's good. I really hope other municipalities help us because we're always there to help them.
Well, they can get paid for it this time.
Yeah, good, because that's something we don't talk about either. But I do want the public to know this is something the council has been advocating for a while. I hate had to take a crisis to get this, but I'm happy to see his proposal. But we've been talking about this for a long time. Council Williams has talked about take-home vehicles for as long as I've been on the council, mental health, but, better late than never. I'm really excited to see this, and thank you for that great report. But when are we getting the actual budget, by the way?
For this,
No, the budget, because it seems like, of course, we're gonna have to have some type of budget for this, but when are we getting the overall budget?
so definitely before the year is out. This is October 1. We got a quarter left. The good news is, I was told last week that they've now reconciled.
Okay,
But
good.
then there's a step after reconciliation of all the accounts to be in a position to address where revenues fall, right? Revenues are going to fall in one of three categories. We're going to be above where we were last year, that fiscal year that ended June 30th. We'll be flat, which we don't want that, or we'll be lower than where we were last year, which we really don't want that. So once we're in a position to determine our revenues, we then can reconcile that with council priorities, administration priorities, as well as everything else together to present back to you.
Okay, thank you for the update. And then just one last thing about the, I know Councilor Tay has been pushing this, and I think this is all a priority for us, but the gun violence intervention programs,
Yep.
I would like to see that as the second phase of this, because it's not just our entertainment district, it's our neighborhoods as well. Like, I think a few of our districts, the last couple of weeks have been having shootings and killings. And so I just want to make sure we look at the holistic view of gun violence. But I did want to once again, thank you so much for answering the call to really make sure that we're prioritizing our police and making sure that people feel safer. So thank you, Madam Pro Tem.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Councilor
Madam-
Smith.
Madam
Yes,
Pro Tem.
Mayor.
Chairwoman of Public Safety, when is your next regularly scheduled meeting? Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Madam Chairwoman, to you, to all your colleagues, to her question, we will present the prevention reentry side at that regular scheduled meeting in detail related to how we're going to go out deploying resources on the ground related to prevention and reentry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other comments or questions? Well, while you have the mic, Councilor Tate, did you have any comments?
Just echo what Councilor Smithman said, being in law enforcement myself, I know how important, the men and women that protect and serve need the things that they need to continue to do what they do daily. But I'm super excited to see this relocation assistance, in here along with these other things. I know Councilor Williams talks a lot about take-home cars. I've heard it a lot in my conversations. And also with a lot of the areas that are being, the building that's going on in a lot of areas, really would like to make sure that, those that are in public service work gets opportunity, for down payment assistance in some of these areas where we building, homes at. So that's really good to see the relocation. But again, Mayor, I just want to thank you. As Councilor Smithman said, I know that I have really been very, I wouldn't say aggressive, but I just been very, having my head down, just really looking at programs in other areas where we can really implement programs here that's working, across the country. And, it's not traditional policing, but, these violent prevention programs are professional jobs for, men and women or people with lived experience to get out, into the community. So I'm excited about, what's to come, what will be presented, to the public, to really put, and just want people to know we didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get out of this overnight. And so it takes a community. It takes a collective to do this. It takes a unified front, and I say this and I've said it. I'm not in the business to point fingers. I'm in the business to do the work and for all of us to walk alongside to do the work in the community, to work with us, to eradicate what is going on. Because again, Birmingham is a resilient place, beautiful city. Everywhere I go, I scream Birmingham to the rooftop and know that people are watching and people are really ready to really come here. And give people the tools that they need. People are not trying to move here. We want to give you the skills and tools that you need to be, to sustain, community. And I just think that, our kids and people in community deserve to live safely. They just deserve to grow up, in these communities. So I'm going to yield the floor back to you, Madam Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilor Williams.
Thank you, and thank you, Mayor and Deputy Chief Malden, for the report. I have a lot of questions. It sounds like we're going to have a meeting to discuss, but just in preparation for the meeting, my questions are about, finances, what this costs. Deputy Malden specifically said that recruitment and retention has been underfunded the past several years. I want to know what that means and why it's been underfunded. And I also want to know what's changed. I mean, with when I chaired public safety the first 4 years, my consistent request was take-home vehicles for the officers that lived within the city of Birmingham, that 40% of the patrol division. So I'm just kind of curious as to where we are as a financial picture of what we're spending on public safety. What that looks like with this budget. And I don't know if you guys have time to put that together before a meeting today. But that
We can answer all those questions.
okay. But if If y'all got it today, then I'll ask it today.
Cool.
So we are meeting today?
Yes, we're planning to meet today.
Okay.
And we'll get that time and have that information. Yes, Mrs. Abbott?
I have one other question. We ask our police officers to enforce practically every ordinance we have in Birmingham. And I was wondering if there's any way to offload any of that. Does everything require an APOS certified person? Or can parking be offloaded onto some other being? Because we give them everything to enforce. And then there's not, and then they'll even tell us at neighborhood meetings, well, that's low priority and we have, I don't want to say more important things to do, but they have more important things to do. So I was just wondering if anybody has looked at any offloading of responsibility that we could, like for instance, if we had cameras at intersections and at stop signs, we wouldn't have to have policemen watching to see if people are running everything. It would just be automatic, and I know we've got some issues with that. Yeah. But just some things to take some of the workload off of police officers so they can do the things that are more police-like.
So the answer to all of your statements and questions is yes, yes, yes. I mean, look, we find ourselves where technology we have to continue to build out our intelligence infrastructure around our city. That's going to include all styles of cameras. But then be in a position, as using your example, at an intersection where somebody runs a stop sign, turns out we have to also, separate and apart from building out that intelligence infrastructure that includes cameras, you have to get state law to allow camera usage, right? So that's a whole separate lane that we're also considering. What is the package? What do we bundle collectively and present to our Jefferson County delegation and the state? Whether it's hiring, whether it's the agility test, whether it's use of cameras in an intersection where officer didn't actually see the person committing the infraction. They did give us the exception, so the window is open, right? They gave us the exception of exhibition driving. Now can we walk this out with others? Something that was a priority to you all last year, code enforcement, right? So putting that in the hands of PEP, but even with some of those folks, they still have to be APOS certified. So that's another creative way. Here is something BPD has been trying to walk out for years, and I think we're making progress. But should every style call be responded to, or can a person just call and take a case number over the phone? It's going to depend on the style of the call it is, but those are other ways you can alleviate some things. So, short in working with the state and working with other departments, as well as the ability to call in, there are some things you can do that doesn't necessarily require a police to respond and or see it.
Well, I'm looking for that. I figure if the city of Center Point can have cameras at their intersections to catch people running red lights and running stop signs, we ought to be able to have it.
I agree. We have to get permission from the state to do that.
Yes, I know, but I don't know, I don't really understand how they discriminate against us when everybody else can do it. I think even Montgomery has it.
I think we just found our voice.
Well,
Councilor Williams?
I can't, Valerie, I can't help but say this now since Valerie's brought this up. One thing that I also am very adamant for that we do not have to get state permission to do is put LPRs in our uniform patrol black and whites. So those LPRs are consistently running license plate reader cameras. And we have that data of where vehicles were. We have, if the owner of that vehicle is wanted for robbery, rape, homicide, that officer immediately knows that in the vehicle. That is something that municipalities, the state, anybody that, for a very limited amount of Birmingham police, our interstate unit uses. But it's something that, that consistently nationwide, I think there's a lot of evidence that shows that actually decreases the amount of crime, not because it solves crime. And this is the same conversation as ShotSpotter. It doesn't solve crime, but it alerts the officer to something that he or she needs to know about. Is the person next to him or her a felon that's wanted for something, and are they going to fly under the radar for the next 6 months until they shoot, rape, or rob someone else? And so I will reiterate publicly my request to have LPRs in our black and white vehicles.
Thank you. Thank Councilor Clark.
Mayor and Deputy Chief, I just want to compliment you all on, the thoughtful approach to figuring out how we can, staff our police department. I was really happy to see a pretty big display of law enforcement at Fiesta this weekend, engaging the crowd, promoting careers in law enforcement. And I just think we got to do a whole lot more of that. And I don't know, I feel like this is definitely a step in the right direction because, when we approve appropriations or increase spending for the police department, we don't always know exactly where it's going and what initiatives it's supporting. I think this kind of detail of the initiatives, it's high level at this point, and I look forward to digging deeper, but it does look like there's some thought to incentivizing officers to live in Birmingham, which I think is an important layer because, more visibility in our neighborhoods of police presence is certainly going to have some dividends for us.
We gotta get over this legal hurdle, Madam Pro Tem. I don't mind sharing this. This is an important point we're making. I think engaging the public in this conversation so they can see some of the uphill battles. The land bank program is an example. The land bank, as it currently stands in our city, that's been in existence a decade. Apparently, everyone can take advantage of it except a city employee. Now, that doesn't make sense to me. I disagree with the way the opinion comes down from the AG's office about that's some type of advantage. We want city employees to live within our city limits. They should be able to take advantage of that. Well, when we create the down payment assistance program through those ARPA dollars and have a $10 million fund, the number one person we want to take advantage of,
right?
Literally the number one type of person we want to take advantage of the down payment assistance would be a first responder to actually live within our city limits. So, look, the truth is this. I've already told Chief Malden this. I told Mr. President this literally this morning. Like, we got to find a way to get creative. If the state says we can't do that, then we need an external organization, foundation here to get it done. But it has to be done as an additional tool, which, by the way, that's a big tool. That's a pretty big tool within that toolbox to get folk to live in our city.
Yeah, and I was making some assumptions about what relocation assistance might be. I mean, I don't know what that is.
If you say yes to be a Birmingham police officer, but you live 80 miles out.
Okay.
You and I both know just the ability to relocate eats into anybody's budget.
I got you. I thought it might be a bonus for officers to move into the city limits. But anyway, I know we don't know much about the details of this yet, but I wanted to just ask you publicly, because I know with the slimmer force, we've had to patrol differently. As we increase, our staffing, do you think we'll ever, and this might not be a question you can answer now, but I'm curious whether there's any desire to return to like the old beat officer type situation? Because I feel like the relationships with community went deeper when they kind of knew their officers and knew the shifts. I mean, it amazes me the extent to which our community members, especially, and a lot of that was fostered through their attending neighborhood meetings, but it always surprises me because I can never remember the names, but people know their beat officers by name and know what time they start, what time they finish, so so probably because of what Arrington had to do after Bull Connor. I mean, the police-community relationships in Birmingham run deep, and
They
they've
do.
been strong over the years. So I just want to, and I don't know, as people age out who had that deep relationship, if there are ways in the strategy that we can recreate some of that.
So, so there are several ways I can answer that. I think one of the ways is consider this. When I talk to leaders, CEOs, presidents, superintendents of other organizations, they will tell you everything's changed, right? That what is today is different from what was. And we have to find ways to adapt to that. So, again, you talk to a CEO of any hospital in this entire footprint, they'll tell you they're short nurses and how they've had to adjust in the last 5 years of what that looks like as it relates to providing service to their patients. Superintendent, they will tell you they've had to adjust as it relates to a higher rate of engaging substitute teachers and what that looks like going forward on recruiting teachers. Policing is different. Policing will be different. And I think there are some things you can glean and learn from the past. But I think in 2024 and beyond, particularly what's happened with policing in the last 4 years, we have to pivot and accept and embrace new ways of how we police. That includes a whole lot of things. I do think a part of it is presence, whether it's car, vehicle, foot. A lot of it's technology. I think there's a whole lot of ways. There was something that mirrored beat officers that we don't talk about enough, and that is block captains. Community members actually, you can't have one without the other, right? It wasn't, what's the use of a beat officer if nobody's going to talk to him? What's the use of an officer on foot patrol if no one's going to engage them? So there's some mutual benefit of community engagement as it relates to what does that look like as well. The point I'm making is, there's a lot of numbers out there that's just false. And so, one, I want the Deputy Chief of Patrol to be in a position to provide an update on what patrol looks like. 2, he will tell you, take his word for it, but you can take mine too, that for patrol staffing to be at optimal level, that is 440 officers citywide. Again, 440 for patrol. The current number is 377. That means we're short patrol, my count, that's 63. Well, we got an incoming class that starts November 19 of 50 plus. Then we got the next class of January. So we have to keep being aggressive in addressing this. But as of today, we're only short 63 patrol officers. So believe me when I tell you that's the number.
Yeah, and I appreciate your comments, and I do think we do have to keep evolving and, employing, as Abbott has said, more of the technology and other things that we can do to lessen the burden of police officers and work smarter. You mentioned block captains. As a person who lives in a neighborhood where the president really tries to, appoint and use block captains for all sorts of things, block cleanups,
It's hard, isn't it?
community communication. I think it's something we should look at more formally on a citywide basis. I don't know that we could do that, but we're talking about sort of a companion piece to the law enforcement. Maybe the block captains program, something more formal where they are sworn in or something and serve for a term. Because Centers for Community Progress, they teach on that model. And so maybe that's something else we can look at down the line, since you brought it up.
Well, look, I mean, the whole idea is to empower community. I know we laughed at the citizens on patrol. In hindsight, that was probably a poor choice of words because it doesn't mean that, right? It's about empowering community. So if you have a block and there are houses on both sides, odd and even, let's just say it's 10 houses. None of them are doing the right law-abiding thing and taking care of their property. Then it may be one house that's a dope house, trap house, pull-up, whatever you want to call it. I am confident if folk feel empowered, those 9, whether it's police participating or not, can put the pressure on that one to not engage in that activity. But if the 9 don't disengage or don't do anything, that's how things seep out, and then it goes to the next block and then the next street and then to the neighborhood. I do believe you can have this conversation without talking about residential and community empowerment, where residents stand up as a collective against some of the illegal activity that's taking place on their block.
Thank you, Mayor Woodfin. And we have had some information handed to us. Councilors, we were able to call a special call committee of the whole meeting at noon, if everyone is in agreement with that. And then we will allow our 2 chairs, you all will be co-chairing that. Yes, Council Clark?
I think we have an economic development committee.
We do it at 11:30, but if we don't ask a lot of questions, Ms. Clark, we'll be done well before noon.
Wait a minute.
All right, so for public notice, we will be holding that meeting at 12 noon. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I just want to also add on to what my colleagues have said. I'm very encouraged to see this proposal come before us. I know it's something that collectively as a council we've wanted. I was very encouraged to see the number of individuals that showed up for the agility test and were able to pass it. I think that sort of started me thinking we're making a turn here on interest in recruitment. So very happy, and I think this will help us as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Thank you, Council.
Thank you all. Councilors, at this time, Madam Clerk, are there any announcements of boards and agencies for the month of November?
No, ma'am, we didn't have any.
All right, thank you. At this time, we'll turn our attention to the items that are listed for consent. I will go ahead and read the statement of the conduct of business. All items designated as consent are routine and non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. All items on the consent agenda will be announced by reading the item's number only. No separate discussion of these items will be permitted unless a council member or the mayor requests the item be removed from the consent agenda. Additionally, a citizen interested in addressing the council with respect to an item on the consent agenda designated for public hearing, and that's indicated on the agenda as PH, you may then request the item be removed from the consent agenda to hold the hearing on the item. Any items removed from the consent agenda will revert to its normal place on the agenda order of business. For remaining matters, all matters of permanent operation indicated with a P will be read and all public hearings will be announced. At this time, Madam Clerk, if you'll read the items that are being considered for consent.
Yes, ma'am. The consent agenda begins on page 2 with items 3 and 4. Page 3, we have items 5, 6, 7, and 8. Page 4, we have items 9, 10, 11, and 12. Page 5, we have items 13, 14, and 15. Page 6, we have items 16 and 17. Page 7, we have items 20 and 21. Please note on item 20, it reads Arrington Middle School for $1,500. It should be Arrington Elementary School. We go over to page 8. That's items 22, 23, and 24. We have a typo. I apologize, Councilor Clark. Councilor Clark's name actually ends with an E, so it should be C-L-A-R-K-E. On page 9, we have items 25, 26, 27. We also have that same typo on item 25. We left the E off on Councilor Clark's name. On page 10, we have items 28, 29, 30, and 31. Page 11, items 32, 33, 34. Page 12, items 35, 36, 37, and 38. Page 13, items 39, 40, and 41. Page 14, items 42, 43, 44, and 45. Page 15, items 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. And that completes the consent agenda. And please note, we do have 2 addendum items.
At this time, councilors, are there any items that you'd like to have added or removed from consent? Councilor Moore?
Item 51 to consent. On page,
Item 51, and what page, sir?
That's 15.
We have to read that one because that's
You gotta
setting
read
a
that one.
public
Okay.
hearing.
But not mine. All right. All right. Thank you. That one, item 51, we can't add to.
No, ma'am, it's a we're setting a
Okay,
hearing. so
thank
no-
you. Any other items, councilors? Councilor Clark?
Can the addendum items 52 and 53 be added to consent? Oh, 53 cannot, sorry. 52?
52 can be added, but 53 cannot. Is that
No, ma'am, we like,
correct?
so we can announce who the people
Okay.
who are appointed.
And then I'd like to request that item number 17 be removed from consent, and item number 21 removed from consent.
Okay, so that's item number 17 on page 6 and item number 21 on page 7. Is that correct? Okay. Any other items? Councilor Tate?
Thank you, Pro Tem. I want to add item 1 to consent and just make a correction that that item was recommended by me, Public Safety Chairwoman.
Which item?
Item 1, she requested. Item 1.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam.
And the change was recommended by the,
By the chairperson of
by
Public
the chair.
Safety.
Okay, so that recommendation is for item number 1 to be added to consent. Any other items?
One more.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm trying to see if it's on consent. Oh, it's not. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, councilors, I would like to request that we remove items 20 on page 7 from consent. And items 25 and 26 from consent. Any other items? Yes, Ms. Abbott?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if someone can explain item 31. I don't really want it taken off consent if there's a quick explanation.
I'll let them look
Yes.
at that. Yes.
Counselor Abbott, that is a DNAT win. That is a settlement, drug nuisance abatement team.
Okay, good, thank you. That answers my question.
Thank you. Councilor Williams?
Congratulations on the DNAT win. Since it's on consent, we're not going to talk about it. And I'm going to leave item 22 on consent, but going forward, can that please go to economic development next year? See you then.
Thank you. All right, councilors, having made those additions and items that we pulled, we'll entertain a motion. Are we,
Excuse me,
Yes,
one
ma'am.
question. I wanted to double check. Item number 2 was added to the consent agenda?
no, it was
No,
one.
item 2 is not, just one. Okay.
Are
Thank
we
you.
clear? All right, this time we'll entertain a motion for the items for consent.
So second.
All right, Councilor Williams and Councilor Moore.
Okay.
Are we ready for the vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, thank you. At this time, all those items that were considered for consent have been approved, and we'll now pay attention to the rest of our agenda. Thank you.
Okay, then our first item will be item number 2 on page 2. A resolution relative to the application of Mo's One Stop LLC for an off-premise beer and wine license to be used at Mo's One Stop, 3925 9th Court, Wylam. That's Birmingham, Alabama, 35224, and this is a hearing of all interested parties.
All right, at this time, I'll turn this public hearing over to Councilor Tate.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. I would like to call the compliance team up, Officer Sergeant Knight and Officer Fikes, Detective Fikes. Langford. Detective Langford. Item 2.
Item 2, what we got, ma'am?
Item 2 is the application for a Mo's One Stop off beer and wine license for Mo's One Stop.
Yes, ma'am. We did a business inspection on that location last Monday. And from there, what we found in the rear of the store was he's supposed to be trying to get an alcohol license, but he already was selling alcohol. It was alcohol, beer, open containers, packages that was already open, and several packages. So he already had alcohol. And we took pictures of it, and then we did a case file on it. And then we explained it to him himself, and he could not explain what was going on. So from there, we had already got reports that they were selling alcohol and buying alcohol. That's what made us go do that check.
Any councilors have questions for Detective Langford?
Ma'am?
I'm just asking, does any of my colleagues have questions for you? You got questions, Councilor Williams?
I was waiting to see where we were going to go with this, but I was going to, depending on the questioning, I was going to ask for an executive session.
Who's here?
But I'm going to wait and see how my colleagues question this.
You got questions?
Any other questions?
Madam Pro Tem, you got questions?
I don't.
Okay. Councilor Abbott, you have questions for Detective Langford?
I've always got questions.
Yes, Ms. Abbott.
Well, the first question is for the committee. It says no recommendation. Is that does that mean that you are not recommending that we approve it, or does that mean you don't have a recommendation?
We voted to recommend not to approve this. There are some other issues going on at that location that would require an executive session.
Oh, okay. And if you catch people selling alcohol that don't have a license, what is the penalty for that?
All right, well, we did not catch him selling alcohol. What we did was we went and checked his establishment because we was informed that he was selling alcohol. So when we went to the establishment, we found alcohol packaged for sale in the rear of his store.
Okay. So it's a suspicion, but it isn't.
Yes, ma'am. If he have it, he could even purchase it and have it there. So he purchased it and had it there. Is that correct, Ms. King?
So it's my recommendation under Alabama State Code 3625-7A3 to discuss potential litigation, then we go into executive session.
Do we have a motion? to
So
go into
moved.
Second.
All in favor, let it be, all in favor, let it be, I'm sorry, Councilor
Aye.
Trina. All
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
All right, thank you. We'll recess for executive session.
Yes.
And before we go, I do want to state for the record that the emergency meeting that we're scheduling for 12 p.m., it is for the purpose of public safety, and it is a committee of the whole. Thank you.
Right.
25
So-
and 18 go together, right?
No, 25 and 24 go together.
Gotcha.
That they are also, and so after you all get through with this item, we
I
can
can
just
take mine
recon-
back off consent, because
we
I
can
don't
just-
want, I don't have to keep it on, I'll put it back on consent.
Well, we can reconsider and just take 24 off.
Because I don't want to keep them too long. I'm good.
Okay, so we're gonna reconsider and just add that back.
Yes. Okay, are we ready to reconvene? So the meeting is called back to order. At the conclusion of our executive session. And at this time, I'll open the public hearing back up to Counselor Tate. Do we need to take a roll call?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I'm a little rusty, y'all, I'm sorry. All
Okay,
right.
roll call. Councilmember Abbott,
Present.
Councilmember Clark. Present. Councilmember Moore,
Good morning.
Councilmember Smitherman. Councilmember Tate,
Present.
Councilmember Williams, Councilmember Woods, Council President O'Quinn, and Council President Pro Tem Alexander.
Present, thank you.
All right. And so now we're going back to item number 2.
Yes, and we'll turn that back over to our Public Safety Chair.
Thank you,
Counselor Tate.
Madam Pro Tem, President Pro Tem. I'm just gonna call Detective Langford back up, so the public hearing is about the Mo's One Stop, and just have Detective Langford to just give us a overview, once again, what he went to Mo's, and observed.
Yes, ma'am. We was informed that we had the convenience store Mo's that was selling alcohol. So we went there. This was last Monday, and that was myself and Detective Fights. And from entering the establishment, we spoke with Mo's. We informed them that we was there to do a business check, and then what we was aware of had suspicion of. And from there, we actually go to check his entire business. And we went to the rear of his business in the storage area, and he had bundles of alcohol. And from there, even beer, wine, and from there we informed him that if you don't have a liquor license, and it was all packaged to sell, and then some of the bulk packages was broken down, and if they was already missing containers. And we asked him where those containers was for those packages, and he couldn't tell us. And then we also asked him for the receipts for the alcohol that he had purchased, those bulks. He did not have that either.
Thank you, Detective Langford. Anybody have any questions for Detective Langford? Okay, thank you, Detective Langford.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So let me just read that the Mo's One Stop presented to the Wylam neighborhood on 5/7/24 for beer off premises, wine off premises. 13 were in attendance, 6 opposed, 2 support. And so the neighborhood association was not in favor of this store, the beer off premises or wine off premises. Is anyone here from the public to speak for or against this item? If so, come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, council people. How is everyone today?
Ms. Lawrence, pull the mic.
My name is Sandra Davis Lawrence. I am a concerned citizen of Wylam, Alabama. This is our president, Mr. Leroy Lassiter of Wylam. this has been an ongoing issue in our neighborhood. We are in the business of recreating our Wylam neighborhood. It is a dilapidated neighborhood on the west side, as many of you may know. And we are very concerned about reestablishing ourselves in the Birmingham area as a thriving neighborhood. And I know that it will be a long and arduous journey that we're undertaking, but I'm here to say I refuse to go backwards. The reason we voted against having alcohol at Moe's, we appreciate businesses coming into the neighborhood, but unfortunately the location is right across from Wylam Elementary School. And our concern was that since we're trying to create a new mindset and a future generational mindset, we believe that we must start somewhere. And we expressed this to the owners of Moe. We appreciate the business, but we have elementary school children that we are definitely trying to change that mindset and the mindset of the parents. If alcohol is all around us. It's not that we don't have places that serve alcohol and sell alcohol, but we just refuse to penetrate our neighborhood with more. So this was brought up at the meeting. I also speak to people who are concerned about this, and their only concern is that the elementary school children are exposed to alcohol. And if he's selling it, which we know he was because we've been through that, who's to say that he won't sell it to underage kids also, since he was denied our vote on selling it. So that leaves us with the situation that we are hopefully that we can do without another alcohol source in our upcoming neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lawrence. Go ahead, Councilman. Go ahead.
No, I didn't know that. Go ahead. I'll ask my questions after both of y'all speak.
Okay, good morning. My name is Leroy Lassiter, and I'm the president of Wylam Neighborhood Association. Thank you, Ms. Lawrence. So we hold our meeting at 4300 7th Avenue in Wylam, 35224. And on the 5th and May the 7th, 2024, we had a meeting, held a meeting. And so there was a number of members that said that since this store was across from the school, Wylam K-8 Elementary School, they did not recommend that there be sold alcohol at this store. So this is why we are here. The association, speaking for the neighborhood of Wylam, this is the reason why they do not want that alcohol being sold at this Moe's store. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lassiter. Councilor Williams.
Ms. Lawrence, Mr. Lassiter, thank you very much for being here. I know that you guys were both at Public Safety and y'all came back, and I know y'all have other things to do than being downtown at City Hall waiting to hear items. But it sounds like from what you guys are telling us that there is a concern that alcohol has been sold already from what you guys know or have heard, and that also that this is right across from school. Am I correct in hearing You guys, okay. Thank y'all for being here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lawrence, Ms. Lawrence and Mr. Lassiter. Is
All right,
the
thank you.
owner of Mo's here?
He walked out. He's in the hall. He was in the hall. He walked out. State the owner is in the hall, but if he's not going to come in, I'd like to call for the vote.
Yes.
Still like to state for the record, Alabama State Code 2816, which are grounds for denial of a liquor license. That is, number one, the creation of a nuisance. Number two, circumstances clearly detrimental to or which would adversely affect the public health, safety, and welfare of the adjacent residential neighborhoods. Number three, a violation of applicable zoning restrictions or regulations. Four, an individual applying for the license has a prior conviction involving the use of alcohol or a controlled substance. The proximity of a business to a school or child care facility and the business hours of the operation will create a harmful environment for the children. Six, the traffic congestion will endanger others. And seven, any other reason that poses a risk.
Madam Chairwoman, I'd like to make a motion that we vote no on item number 2, based on the facts of a proximity of a Birmingham City School.
Second.
Okay,
All in favor?
hold on just 1 second. Instead of making a motion to deny, just vote no against your original motion, if you want to vote against it. Because the original motion is always to approve, and just vote no.
Is that not what I said?
That's what
We just made a motion to deny, but
to vote no.
to vote no. Okay, you just made it into a motion to vote no. Just vote no.
Yes, it's a motion to vote no.
Mrs. Abbott?
Vote.
Sure.
Can I just
I'll
ask?
hold my motion.
This is for the committee members, because since the applicant's not here, we can't ask him what his hours of operation are. Do you remember from the committee meeting what the hours were supposed to be?
I do not remember what the hour is supposed to be. The applicant is in the hallway, but he doesn't seem to want to come in, so,
And he didn't state that, Mrs. Abbott.
but he did not state what his hours were going to be.
Okay.
He's gone.
Okay.
I'd really like to know his hours.
They say he's no longer in the area.
Okay. Motion to vote no on item number 2, and the reason is proximity to a Birmingham City School.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of this item, please vote aye.
Aye.
We're voting in
All
favor. Point of
opposed?
order.
No.
Thank you.
Aren't we supposed to, if we don't want it, we're supposed to vote no?
But my motion was to vote.
But his motion is to vote no. So when we say aye, we're going with his no. Correct?
It actually, the way it's supposed to proceed is, the motion is always in the affirmative.
To approve.
And then if
I
you
will.
don't want to go that way, vote no.
For clarity, for the record,
Right.
my point of making a motion is to state the reason being is its proximity to a Birmingham City School. But I'm going to withdraw my motion and we will vote up or down this item.
All in favor for the item? All opposed?
No.
Thank you.
Right. The application for the premise beer and wine license has been denied to Mo's One Stop. Next item.
Madam Pro Tem,
Wait a
did you want to do the reconsideration?
Yes, counselors, if you would allow me to, hold on. Counselors, if you would allow me to request that we reopen the consent agenda because I had asked to remove item number 25, and I would like for it to remain to be consented. And that's item number 25 on page 9.
Okay.
Your motion is reconsider?
Yes, reconsider.
Second motion to
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you. Probably gave Russia a heart attack, but we're very much in agreement with this item. It needed to go in concert with another item, so thank you.
So we're putting it back on consent.
Back on consent,
So
yes.
we're putting item 25
Yes.
back on consent.
Thank you.
Now we need to make,
Now we need a motion to,
Second.
on the consent agenda.
so now we're going to readopt the consent agenda with 25.
Motion to readopt the consent agenda.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, thank you very much. So the item is consented. Thank you. Next item.
The next item is item number 17. This is an ordinance to further amend the grants fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025 by appropriating $5,074,139 to community development through home investment partnerships, American Rescue Plan, Home ARPA, from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development per grant award received.
I move approval.
All right, thank you. Councilor Clark, you asked that this be pulled.
Yes, I'm just excited to see that we're receiving home ARP funds. I was wondering if there could be just a little high level of how we plan to use it.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Pro Tem, to your
Yes, Ms.
colleague's
Mayor.
question, we're going to have Dr. Venable Thomas of Community Development, along with her colleague Corey Stonewall, come before you and present.
Thanks.
I think what's before you is actually receiving the funds, but she'll give you a little detail of what happens next.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, good morning. I'm Megan Venable Thomas. I serve as the Director of Community Development for the city, and we are very excited to be receiving and awarded these $5 million of funds, which will specifically go towards supporting unsheltered and sheltered homelessness across the city. Specifically, with these funds, we'll be utilizing them for non-congregant shelter. So thinking about housing development that will be in service to folks who are experiencing homelessness, as well as public service provision, wraparound services, and supportive services for folks who are experiencing homelessness.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Mrs. Abbott?
Yes, just remind me, because we hear a lot of cases. Do we have locations identified for this housing, or are we looking for locations?
We are looking for locations, so our approach is that we have put out a request for qualifications for developers to apply across the board for housing, service provision, and development to the city of Birmingham. That application is open now, and once we close that window, we'll be able to review qualified applicants and select developers that we can then associate with some of our vacant properties to see what sorts of developments we could do there.
Okay, so these will be a variety of different kinds of housing. They could be apartments, they could be single family, they could be whatever someone can imagine.
That's correct, and specifically non-congregant, so not emergency shelter, but actually individual units that folks can live in.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Councilor Moore?
Yeah, and I was just gonna ask along the same lines, so this wouldn't be associated with the pilot program at all?
No,
This would be in addition to?
That's correct.
Gotcha, okay.
Thank you. Great questions. Any other questions? We're ready for the vote. Thank you.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, thank you. That item passes. Next item.
Okay, the next item will be item number 18. And it is an ordinance pursuant to section 10-2-9 of the General City Code authorizing the mayor, the chief of police, and the director of traffic engineering to continue the temporary experimental road closures for Project Safe Streets East Lake for an additional period not to exceed 90 days from the effective date to provide notice to the public of the date and time of a public hearing before the council to consider the indefinite closure of the roadways identified in Project Safe Streets, East Lake. And for this item, it's a permanent item of permanent operation, so we need unanimous consent to take it up today.
So moved.
Second.
Councilor Williams, and that's Councilor Moore. Okay. All right, let's do this. Councilmember Abbott,
Aye.
Councilmember Clark,
Aye.
Councilmember Moore,
Aye.
Councilmember Smitherman. Aye. Councilmember Tate. Aye. Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Woods. And President Pro Tem Alexander.
Aye. And councilors, since we have now opened that item for discussion, I'd like to ask if we could also consider item 51 on page 15 along with this item as well.
Okay. And on
You'll read
item
that
number
one for me? Yes,
51.
item
Yes, ma'am.
51.
Item number 51, which is on page 15, is a resolution setting a public hearing November 12th, 2024, to determine whether the closure of certain roads under Project Safe Streets East Lake, initiated pursuant to Section 10-2-9 of the General Code of the City of Birmingham, shall be continued indefinitely to provide traffic calming measures for reduction of crime.
I move approval.
Second.
All right, thank you. So now we have before us items 18 and 51.
So we're going to use that motion for the
Yes.
second motion for 51 and the first motion.
Thank you.
I mean, for 18.
All right.
Gotcha.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, did you want to just give us an overview, and then I think councilors have some questions?
Absolutely. Again, good morning, Madam Pro Tem. Good morning to the council. The president and I was actually on the same delegation trip. He's still there, but I hate he cannot be here. But we've talked a lot about what's before you right now, including up to him attending a town hall meeting we had isolated to this conversation last week. So if someone can actually pull up, thank you. So I want to start by saying that what's presented to you is not only some detail of this pilot project, but next steps and where do we go from here, which are the two items before you. This program, this pilot program, as I've stated at two town hall meetings, as I've stated at numerous neighborhood meetings, as I've stated at knocking on doors that we've lost count of, this type of program doesn't work without, one, residential buy-in, two, residential empowerment, meaning this only works if the residents want it. And if they want to continue it, what does that mean? So we got here because majority of residents, through a public engagement process that included knocking on doors, attending neighborhood meetings, and having an isolated town hall meeting to this, we received pretty much, for lack of a better word, permission from residents to try this pilot. By state law, we are allowed, as it relates to public right-of-way, to try something for 90 days. What we told those residents at every step was that we would continue to stay engaged and communicate with you and get follow-up feedback, issues you had, concerns, etc., on what are your thoughts about this pilot program. This program's initial thought was very simple. It was centered around, is there a way to reduce crime, particularly shootings? Majority of shootings in this neighborhood came in the form of drive-bys, drive-ups, etc. We looked at across the city, two beats that had the highest forms of gun violence. It turned out the East Lake neighborhood, not the community, but the actual East Lake neighborhood, as well as North Titusville, were two neighborhoods that had some of the highest form of gun violence. And so this pilot program fits squarely into, can we reduce that by limiting the number of entrance exit points within the neighborhood? This historic neighborhood, as it currently stands, has over 40 entrance exit points that exist in it. The resident says, yes, try it. Well, the majority of them said, please try it. It turns out that this program did not stay isolated to that one topic. We were able to address other issues. One being infrastructure, whether it's PEP, Public Works, Department of Transportation, and a host of other things related to infrastructure. And then on the public safety end, it included, again, other crimes, whether it was speeding, whether it was prostitution, illegal dumping, and a host of other things. So a huge shout out to the actual internal team who took the lead and ran with this over the 80-plus days now. We have not reached the 90-day mark yet. So I do want to say that. But the team led by Alicia Lumpkin, LaToya Walker, who led the outreach piece, and all the department heads and their team members, they leaned in all the way on this, so I want to publicly thank them. I want to give you a few results first. As you see here, this is the project footprint, where a lot of the barriers exist along First Avenue South. We could not place them on First Avenue North. First Avenue North is actually a state highway. But then if you turned off into Division, you could not get past, I'm sorry, the barriers exist on Division. You could not go beyond Division. And then as you see, a portal as well. So the main artery to enter the East Lake neighborhood is 2nd Avenue South, and then once on 2nd, various ways to get in. If you go to the next slide, this just gives you detail of the actual streets and alleys closed. Notice I told you that there are over 40 entrance-exit points. For this program, we decided to pilot. We actually closed 20 of those locations, listed here in detail, with the majority being, again, on Division, then Oporto, and then some of the back end in the neighborhood, 68th Street, and definitely the back end, Higdon Road. If you will, go to the next slide. So then we talk about various things we were able to do and like lean in and focus on. In assessing the neighborhood, we were able to identify for condemnation 27 structures. And then we were able to identify actually code violations as well. So you see in detail number of court cases, those who voluntarily came into compliance, then those in the land bank. And then you see over the 80-plus days so far, we were able to demolish, I believe, the combination of our internal team that's in Public Works, as well as contractors, seven houses. You could go to the next slide. So then we talk about more code enforcement. Overall, I do want to say this, and Ms. Thomas can back this up, that what we found in this neighborhood is that when we engaged the residents, majority of them voluntarily came into compliance with any breach of code enforcement issues in their neighborhood. There was only a certain segment we had to take to court, and then even with that, once we took them to court the first time, most of them came into compliance before we had to ratchet up with telling the judge they're not in compliance. So this is giving you some overview of junk debris, more zoning violations, and then overgrown lots. If you could go to the next slide. So then this gives you a snapshot of some of the work Public Works put in these 80-plus days so far. Cut 182 lots. A lot of debris, y'all. We pick it up and somehow get back down on the ground again. A lot of that was in the alleys. That tended to be the consistent problem in this program, even with cleaning them up. Keeping the limb loader out there isolated to this pilot program. That limb loader was never not active. It was always like engaging. And then you see the bags of litter collected literally just in 80-plus days, as well as the potholes repaired that not only include the streets, but also include the alleys. Next slide. So this is probably one of the coolest things of the program. Again, it wasn't just about decreasing entrance exit points. And talking with so many mothers and grandmothers about wanting their child to play outside, it wasn't isolated to we hear gunshots. It was also too many people speed. So we found ways to put up more stop signs, speed humps, and believe it or not, just the striping alone, letting people know this is a crosswalk, made behavior change. So you see this in detail, 9 four-way stop signs, 2 streets paved, 7 speed cushions, and 13 crosswalks with new striping. Next slide. So then we talk about public safety, which was really important, that how do you, in one of 99 neighborhoods in this pilot program, how do you enhance some of your public safety engagement? As you can see, the result in 80-plus days, so you're able to retrieve 19 firearms. And this traffic citation piece is crazy, y'all, because you see just in this is a neighborhood. This is not some commercial district. This is not the interstate. This is not a Port Old First. This is residential in a neighborhood. In 80-plus days, 559 tickets for running stop signs and speeding over and over. And then some people pull over, they didn't have a license or expired tag. So in some cases, this can be one person with multiple tickets because they just all roam. But as you see in 80-plus days, that many tickets. Then I told y'all about the drug houses, trap houses, dope houses, whatever synonym you want to use. And thanks to Ms. King's team and BPD engaging that. And then criminal arrest. Now, this criminal arrest is a host of things, but a laser-like focus on prostitution. Because somehow in all 99 neighborhoods, there's been this, from a historical standpoint, I'm going to believe it's because you can get off 20 or 59 by this neighborhood. On the commercial corridor, you have all these gas stations and motels, and then a host of other things that unfortunately attract an element that doesn't bode well for a community or residents or neighborhood. But in 80-plus days, we were able to make 140 arrests just in this neighborhood. And then next slide. So the current barriers, everybody, you see how they look. We showed you at the beginning how they would look. That doesn't work if the residents, for hypothetically, through a public process, say, we want this to continue. Over time, we would need to phase out those existing barriers because from I guess, aesthetically they don't work. And we want something to blend in with community neighborhood from an infrastructure standpoint. So imagine if you let's say this program continued in perpetuity, or as long as the residents wanted it, then we would eventually phase in a look like this in lieu of the current barriers. So look at the left side, you see you see two things. And transportation, I was here to give you my correct term, but you see the infrastructure coming off the actual street, and then you see those black, what are those black things called? Ballers. Thank you. Terms I don't use. You see the ballers as well. So that's is an example, and then you see two other examples. You see one on 20th Street, for example, that already exists downtown, and you see one bottom right in the city. I don't even know where that is. Hopefully that's not Birmingham. But that's an idea of moving forward. Just give you some examples that we would eventually phase into a whole different look that actually blends in with the actual neighborhood. Not as only aesthetically pleasing, but more safe, if that makes any sense. Could go to the next slide. So that was it. We had the town hall meeting last week. It was almost 2 hours. This was the second town hall meeting we've had. And I want to give you, not just from that town hall meeting, but leading up to that town hall meeting, we've had ample continued engagement of knocking on doors, standing on porches, standing in front yards, engaging residents. So far, we've had 300. There's been an engagement of, I left a number off. I need to get it right. 381 contacts that we've been able to make with residents. And of the 381, 305 says, can you please continue beyond the pilot program? 64 says no, and 12 said they were pretty much neutral. Again, of that 380 plus, 305 says continue. A couple things we have to do. One, we have to finish the pilot. We have not reached our 90-day. We're coming up on it very soon. But in this program, continuing to get residential feedback on concerns, thoughts, issues, questions. Do you want to continue? Do you not want to continue? Do you care or not care? And gathering that information so far before you is two separate things. One is permission to continue beyond the 90 days as we continue to assess. But in assessing, we believe the residents, through their input, through their own voice, not ours, that they want this to continue. Well, if it continues well beyond the pilot, then you have to have a public hearing, which is the second thing before you. In the ideal world, how that's presented is the residents of Eastlake will come before you and says, we want this to continue or not. Well, anything past 90 days requires by law a public hearing to vacate the right-of-way beyond those 90 days, which is also before you in the form of getting to the point of having a hearing to allow public input for yay or nay, for or against, support, not support, and any other thing you want to include. The other is, what we don't want is to create a gap and have to take up all these resources if it actually works, and most of the residents want it, and then you vote in favor of it, to have to go put it back. So in a short window, what's also before you is asking to extend by vote a little bit beyond the 90 days. It doesn't take away residents' power or your power to actually vote on a permanent or continued vacating of city right away, if that makes any sense. I hope I explained that in a way that works. If not, I can slow it down and break it down more. But Madam Pro Tem, I take it back, turn it back to you for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mayor Whip. And councilors, do you have any questions? Because a timeline has been put before us for extension as well as for the public hearing that would give the residents and us an opportunity to consider more making this permanent, correct? All right. I thought I saw Councilor Moore first.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay,
Yeah.
Councilor Williams, go ahead.
Well, first I just wanted to say I commend you all for the efforts in the Eastlake area. I know that I have a couple of people that live over in that area that have been able to share with me their thoughts in terms of how they felt about it and how they appreciate it. Because I know 2nd Avenue is not far from my home, and people do speed. And I know leaving from the Woodlawn area, heading to Puerto Madrid, there are several kids that are out there on the streets that, like to play, on the sidewalks, throwing footballs, all kinds of stuff. And so just being able to slow that traffic down is a big deal. I wanted to just kind of go back to some of the numbers that you shared, I don't know.
Anyone still in the back, can you pull the,
Can we go back to the slide presentation, have the
It
numbers?
talked about like the guns that y'all were able to collect and all of those things.
if you could go back to the public safety slide, please.
Cody's pulling it up.
Yeah, he's pulling up. Well, while he's pulling it up, I was just curious about, like how were we able to, I guess, confiscate those guns?
Yeah, so there were several operations in this pilot program over these, has been over these 80-plus days. One has been the, Chad, you have to forgive me, I'm looking for the term, there's a traffic unit. There's a traffic unit. And literally, neighborhood meeting, town hall meeting, at doors, can you please help slow traffic down? So the conversation with Deputy Chief Pruitt is, what type of operation can you deploy over a few weeks to let folk know you can't just speed through here? So some of that came from pulling folk over, and then whether there's outstanding warrant, whether there's anything else attached, including guns. The other thing came from a few other operations, one of them being not just the prostitutions, but going after the Johns too. And they have a mandate for me. I know we've talked about the copycats that happened from the mass shooting at the school in Georgia. And we all saw nationally the sheriff go viral about the perk walk. But that was isolated to that issue. Well, we got motivated and says, for this issue, we arrest the prostitutes, and you know how the system works. We talk about this revolving door, and unfortunately they get out. Where do they go? They go right back. You know what to slow them down? Arresting the Johns. And then blasting the Johns, publicly embarrassing them, who probably have married, who probably got children, and doing a lot of other stupid stuff they shouldn't be doing. So another operation of putting them on blast. So those combined operations, as well as some other engagement, have led to that type of seizure in 80-plus days.
Gotcha. And I'll just say this and then pass it back over to you, Madam Pro Tem. I don't want to take away from, the work that's going on in Eastland, because that's the item that's before us. But I know for a fact that, with the success of this, all of us, definitely know that there are certain areas within our districts that, this could also be deployed and be extremely helpful in bringing some safety and a sense of hope and security to our residents. And so,
So, Madam Pro Tem, just a couple of points of that. This program, everybody, is centered around quality of life. Don't think crime in isolation. Think quality of life. There's some interesting things that come with quality of life. I can sit on my porch now. It's more quiet. I feel safe for my children to play outside, even if I'm inside and I don't have to watch them. More people are walking. I mean, it's just various ways of the benefits of this program. You talk to a developer, you talk to people that live in newer neighborhoods or subdivisions, they will tell you there's some consistency. Our historical neighborhoods don't necessarily bowl well with this new form of violence. It is too easy. It is too easy for people to drive in and drive out. But a newer development, let's say built in the 90s on, there's probably max 2 ways in and out. We got these historic neighborhoods that got 40 ways in and out. Again, this is not about trapping people in. This is about keeping out bad elements. This program proves something like this works when you're intentional. Do we believe it can be applied to other areas of town? Absolutely. You have to phase it in. This has a cost. It has a manpower cost as well as infrastructure costs. But can we get there? Absolutely.
Well, this seems very effective. And so just want to commend you and your team and say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilor Abbott?
I just keep on thinking about Green Springs Avenue and how happy I'd be to close it off.
I think that's a state highway too, though.
No, going through the neighborhood.
Oh, I got you.
I'm concerned about the neighborhood people, not the highway people. But, I was just thinking about the fact that the neighborhood took a vote of whether to let the city put that road through George Ward Park so that people could cut through our neighborhood.
That was years ago?
Going 90 miles an hour.
Was that years ago, or you're saying?
It's years ago,
And the residents said yes?
by one vote.
And now they regret it?
Oh, yes. Yes, sir. It's a speedway to UAB.
I thought you were saying
Just get
speedway to
on
something
there and
else.
put the pedal to the metal.
All right.
And run the stop signs, because nobody's going to stop you from running them. So you just don't stop. So, I just couldn't help but think about that. I know you're not coming to my neighborhood, but I can dream.
Yes, ma'am. Look, I think, Madam Pro Tem, to your colleague's point, how we start is how we end the pilot, and then how we go forward is the same with starting how we end the pilot. This is full residential buy-in and empowerment. We can have an idea, but once deployed on the ground, if it doesn't have the residential buy-in piece, and along the way, the 80-plus days, we made a lot of adjustments. So it doesn't matter if it's East Lake, Glen Irons, it doesn't matter if it's North Titusville or any of your neighborhoods in the Southwest. We know from all of your requests, there's an outpouring or more traffic coming, whether it's stop signs, speed cushions, et cetera. But maybe the conversation can be added on, should some streets be vacated to slow some of this stuff down. We are open to the conversation as an administration. And if the majority of the residents want it, then I think it's ways to get there. So if you let it be community driven and empowered by the residents, I think we can have this conversation well beyond this neighborhood.
Perfect.
Including District 3.
Thank you. Councilor Williams?
Thank you. So in our discussion about this, we kept saying that this was when we talked about this in public safety, that this was going to be not permanent.
Correct. By state law, and I'm going to pull it up, Ms. King. I want to read it to you because I think it's important. 1 second, just a few seconds. So there's a municipal code section that specifies authorized emergency and experimental. I want to lean in on the word experimental regulations related to the flows of traffic. This experimental piece cannot be beyond 90 days, right? So when I said that, I meant that. What we didn't know was that in continuing this conversation with residents, not just at the town hall meeting, but going to doors, not just going to doors, but talking to the head of safety at Barrett Elementary, that the school is in there, talking to pastors who are in there. This is what residents are saying. Please don't take it away. So in saying that, I am responding to residents by simply saying the following. Before you is an actual public hearing, because anything beyond 90 days has to vacate requires a public process. The administration we're pulling ourselves out of the conversation and empowering the residents and empowering you to allow residents to come before you through their voice and say, we want to keep it, we don't want to keep it. And if they do, and listening to them and getting feedback from them, you decide if you want to extend that vacation. Look, it can be a generation from now that says, you know what, we don't want this, open the streets back up. And that's a public process to no longer be in a position to vacate them. Or her example of Glen Iris. If the residents came back and said, we wanted this street vacated, maybe that's an outgoing thing you want to do, I don't know. But I'm using that as an example. If the residents got here of saying open that street, then that can also be reversed the way I hear that. In this case, we simply want the residents to be in a position to come before you, Council Williams.
Okay, so, okay, that answers my question, because there's the 90-day and then there's the indefinite on item 51.
Two things. Yes, so let me explain the delta. Public hearing says you have to give notice, and if hindsight, I guess we could have started this a long time ago, but we didn't want to. We can only come back before you and request a public hearing because of the feedback of residents, but that requires a window of public notice. The window of public notice goes beyond the 90 days. What we don't want is to take up everything did, and based on report, you say approve permanent vacation and then have to deploy it back, where you've changed behavior and then you get a different behavior that goes backwards and then you try to start over again. So the extension is to close the notification of the public hearing. Look, you have the public hearing and the majority of residents come before you and say they don't want it, then you're going to make a decision. But what we don't want is the opposite of that. You made a decision, but we took everything up. And that's what's before you, to extend a little bit of the 90 days, which is separate from a public hearing for permanent vacation.
Okay, so I guess this is a bigger question than relates to the two items that we're voting on, because we're voting on a 90-day extension and then a public hearing for indefinite whatever. But I would like to have a conversation with you or your team, whoever, about the cost of this and ways that you can implement this in a different way in other 99 neighborhoods. Because, some neighborhoods it would not make sense to shut down streets because there's not a lot of ingresses and egresses in that neighborhood. However, my neighborhoods are crying out for the 19 guns, 558 citations, and 114 arrests. I want that detail in my entire district, because that is the consistent, that is one thing that consistently, neighborhood meeting after neighborhood meeting, is more police presence, or traffic enforcement, or y'all put in they call it, you, pointing to me, you put in this stop sign as if I dug it up and put it in the ground, and now you're letting everybody run it. And so that's a consistent thing in meetings, where it's overwhelming.
I think one of the ways that we can close the gap on what you're saying is it's probably impossible to take that traffic unit and deploy them in all 99 neighborhoods in one day, right? Here's what's realistic. This morning, your colleague said more cameras. I think if there was ever a time where we can show unity is to expand camera usage for all forms of traffic violations. That puts us in a position for you all to support more increased camera usage and deployment in our city via our budget, not just for violent crime, but for something like this that concerns everybody. No pushback on what you're saying.
Okay.
I hear you loud and clear.
All right.
Pilots, by definition, are very unique. So as we study, how do we deploy these other places? When can you deploy it? What is the cost of manpower and financially? These are all things we're discussing. We're just trying to getting to be on this pilot first.
Okay. And ask Ms. Williams about the Crestline neighborhood meeting where we asked her if she enjoyed her time. We had over 400 people there, which was the largest community event I've ever been to.
What was the request?
There was a lot, but.
You said ask her, so what am I asking her?
No, I'm just saying, from your team, she was there, so she can support what I'm saying is all.
Yes, sir.
Is
Yes, sir.
you don't really have to ask her.
No.
I'm just saying, from your team, your representative, Ms. Williams, was there, and so.
Sir.
Thank you, and Counselor Smitherman.
Did I miss it? Did you see how much did all of this cost to do this?
So there's no actual cost. We already had the barriers, so it was a matter of us deploying the barriers. I'm going to imagine there is some nominal costs related to the striping, the barriers, and the stop signs, but I need to ask, let's be sure we ask
I wasn't
James
really
Fowler.
talking about like the barriers. I was talking about, being able to, or I guess accelerating like street paving and, the
streets are
traffic
already on the
calming.
list.
Traffic calming too.
That's a good question. The traffic calming, I need to balance requests
Okay.
versus what was already in store. What I do know is it didn't take away from any of the requests you all already have in the queue.
Okay.
They told me that from the get-go because I told them we can't get killed by taking away resources here to
Right.
put them here.
So as far as like the manpower, I'm sorry, Council Williams, if I missed this, was it like you took a certain number from each precinct and told them, hey, stay on these? Like, so how were you able to so quickly?
We have
I'm
an,
sorry, you got to
yeah,
repeat.
this is a great question. We have an existing narcotics unit. We have an existing traffic unit. So I would tell you in 90 days, there were a few days we supercharged.
Okay.
I want you to be right here. And I think the first week they told me, or the first 3 days, it was a ridiculous number of those tickets. So, they can't stay in one area for one day even. They can stay a few hours. But that's work from a few hours over a few days.
Yeah.
That number would be higher if it was all day, every day, right? Which would be for any area because in all 99 neighborhoods, unfortunately, people run stop signs. In all 99 neighborhoods, unfortunately, people speed. But what we wanted to do is, you gave a hypothetical last year, people wouldn't do stuff in certain areas of other towns because they know you can't do that here. What we wanted to do was get into the mind of not just the residents who live there, but if you drive through here,
Right.
you're subjecting yourself to actually get a ticket. So supercharging enough to get it out there of change behavior, right? Because we can't have a cop sit on every corner.
Right.
There won't be a stop sign at every intersection. But if we can change mindsets, a lot of this 90-day project is also about changing mindsets.
Right. Yeah.
We believe we got through to some Johns, some prostitutes, folks who want to
Good.
speed, people who got the dope and trap houses,
Yeah.
because there was an overemphasis on if you do that here are the consequences.
Okay. Good.
Can that be deployed in other areas? Are we actually doing that outside of the pilot? Yes. But they got a mandate to
Yeah, no, because it's
laser-like
based on the
focus.
stats, and that's always good when you do, it's just like this based on the stats. Did you see a decrease in the shootings? Because I think that and the one in my district was based off of.
I don't have the information
It's okay.
let's make sure I told the folk at the neighborhood meeting, I told the folks at the town hall meeting that we will provide them the stats of year-to-date within that 90-day window
Yeah.
of gun violence here versus gun violence in 23 and 22. So what I can tell you overall, they have it two ways. They have it monthly, which this program was month, 90 days. Then they have it yearly. What we know, 21, 22, 23, there was an overall increase in gun violence. So I'm waiting them to get the number at the 90-day mark. Did gun violence decrease? We believe it did, but when you go more deep into the data, I think it's different for each month.
Okay, I was just wondering, because I think that was the overall goal for that, was to see that. So if that is correct, I am happy to hear that about Eastlake, because I go into Eastlake actually quite often. So it's nice to see the transformation of that area.
Truthfully, we wanted to do two pilots at one time, but realized we couldn't. North Titusville is the second neighborhood we wanted to do it in. It was based on the crime data that says this has one of the highest forms of shootings in the city of all 99 neighborhoods.
Okay, they have a neighborhood meeting tomorrow, so I may mention it to them then. But we talked about going door to door, so we can whenever you finish this pilot.
Gotcha.
Thank you very much. If there are any other questions or comments?
Yeah,
Yes, I'm sorry, Councilman Moore.
I just wanted to, add on to what Councilor Williams was talking about in terms of like this probably looking different in different neighborhoods. I know this is Project Safe Streets. And one of the reasons why I was, even late this morning is because, we had several residents that came in and were concerned about, even, massive trucks, 18-wheelers that, are riding through neighborhoods and, causing, different accidents and things of that nature. And so I could see something like this being, extremely helpful on the Treadwell, Huffman Road, Airport Hills, Lawson Road area to kind of addressing, changing the mindsets of those truck drivers. I know that when there was a redevelopment of the interstate and the highway, people were just trying to find shortcuts just to get to where they were going. But now it's time to, direct people back to where they need to be so that that's no longer an issue. So
Yes, sir.
just wanted to say that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. At this time, I believe we're ready for the vote. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, thank you. So items 18 and 51 have passed. Councilors, I need your help and consideration of where we go from this point forward as far as our current agenda. It is 12 noon. We're supposed to start our special meeting at 12:04. We have about 4 other items that are still need to be considered on the agenda. I am perfectly happy with taking my 2 items that I pulled off earlier and putting them back on consent because they were just announcements for the public as far as ARPA dollars. So how would you all like to proceed? Do you think we can go fast? One of them is your items, Counselor. I think we can go fast. And then, we don't want to make anybody speed up. But
Madam President?
yes, ma'am.
One item is a first reading. Maybe we could just read it and let it come up again next week. The other one,
Which one is that one?
number 19, a first reading could just be a first reading
Yes.
if we allowed it to be.
I don't know what the timing is of that for the purpose of that particular item, because we're trying to authorize a funding agreement. Because that's our crossplex item.
But I'm saying if it was just a first reading, it would come up next week.
Correct, because what we have to do is go through unanimous consent, so we would table it until next week. Correct. If we vote
We
against
just do the first reading.
And we wouldn't do anything. Okay. I don't know. That's how we proceed. All right, go ahead. The next item is item number 19.
Okay, item 19 is an ordinance authorizing the acquisition, construction, and payment of capital improvements to the Birmingham Crossplex on behalf of the Public Athletic, Cultural, and Entertainment Facilities Board of the City of Birmingham, Alabama, and authorizing the city to execute a funding agreement among the City of Birmingham, the PACE Board, and PNC Bank National Association, under which the city will pay the principal of and interest on a revenue bond to be issued by the PACE Board to PNC Bank and a principal amount which will not exceed $15 million to pay the cost of capital improvements to the Crossplex site necessary to develop a family fun center. A project lease agreement between the city and the PACE Board, under which the city will lease a portion of the Crossplex site to the PACE Board as the site of the Family Fun Center project, and an indenture to be executed and delivered by PACE Board to PNC Bank in connection with the issuance of the revenue bond to provide funding for the Family Fun Center project. And as already stated, this is an item, you have to get unanimous consent first to bring up the item. All right. So we need a motion.
Second.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me get this on here right quick. Councilmember Abbott,
No.
Councilmember Clark,
No.
Councilmember Moore. Okay, Councilmember Smitherman.
Yeah,
Well, we still have to complete the whole roll call. Councilmember Tate, Councilmember Williams,
no.
Councilmember Woods, Councilmember, President Pro Tem Alexander.
Aye.
Okay, and as you all know, we did not get unanimous consent, and it'll be held over to next meeting.
We'll carry that over to the next meeting. The next item,
Move to reconsider the consent agenda.
thank you. There's a second, there's a motion to reconsider the consent agenda.
Okay, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, at this time, I would like to ask that we add item number 20 on page 7 and item 26 on page 9 to consent.
Okay, item number 20 and item number 20, did you say 26?
Yes, on page 9.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, thank you. Those two items are consented. Next item.
The next item will go all the way over to item number, the addendum. Oh,
How
I'm
about
sorry.
21?
Did I skip 21? I apologize. Item 20, okay, 21. A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute and deliver an agreement for consulting services between the City of Birmingham, the Birmingham Board of Education, and IMC Financial Consulting LLC, under which the Birmingham Board of Education and IMC Financial Consulting LLC will implement a financial literacy initiative called the Financial Freedom Project to provide financial literacy and financial education in Birmingham City Schools for a term of 1 year and for an amount not to exceed $1 million.
Move the item. All right, Councilor Clark, you asked this item be.
Yes, thank you. I see that Isaac Smith is with us, and Isaac Cooper. And if as before, he could give us some information on the impact and whether he's engaged a third-party evaluator. Just tell us how it's going, since we're continuing to invest for the third time, I believe.
I think so.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead. Give us your name. Go ahead. I know Isaac's there, but you give us your
Good
name.
afternoon, Madam Pro Tem Council. I'm Tracy Bennett. I serve as the Deputy Director for Department of Youth Services. I wanted to make sure that you all had this. It was sent via email last week, but if you want it before you, we can pass it out.
Okay.
And Isaac can provide the updates that you're asking for.
Thank you. So, Mr. Smith, Cooper Smith.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you all for your time and as well the opportunity to be able to share As you all mentioned, we started this pilot 2 years ago with the IMC Financial Freedom Project, and uniquely enough, I know that Birmingham has garnered a lot of national attention, but just as well as the Financial Freedom Project. We've actually expanded out to New York and all the way down 65 South to Mobile. The impact has been truly incredible, considering the fact that we have three stakeholders. We have the solutions for the students to where we ensure that we take the onus off of the educators by facilitating this in the classroom. But we also have our impact with the adults, with the one-on-one consultations and workshops that we're able to provide. So even as we talk about the quality of life that we want for our residents, there actually is a lot of parallel in what we've seen in regards of engaging with the different principals and our stakeholders. Prime example, one of the issues that we know that is a priority when it pertains to Birmingham City School is the Literacy Act and the Numeracy Act. Alongside that, one of the principals we work with, Dr. Washington at Southampton, through our program, their math score increased tremendously because we work directly with them. And this is actually part of the secret sauce of our design. Typically, financial literacy and financial education platforms is an after school, it's an afterthought. There isn't any type of intentional design that can reflect the metrics. I got to shout out our curriculum team because we made sure that we got a very thorough understanding of the academia standards, the core standards that these students are tested on a year-to-year basis, and we embedded our information to ensure that they could see those same type of financial or mathematical concepts within our curriculum. Really grateful of the relationship that we do have with Birmingham City Schools. I just met with the superintendent and their team talking about the excitement we have for year 3, but also how we embed this into their overall budget in regards of our operations. As you can see in front of you, there is a good bit of data. If you go to, I believe, the 3rd or 4th page, you'll be able to see some of our numerical impact in regards of the pre and post-test data. So the information they know prior to meeting us and the information they know afterwards, double-digit increase across each sector from elementary school, middle school, and high school. Been over 1,000 hours of in-person instruction that we've been able to facilitate. Again, we feel that it is irresponsible to put this onus on the educators, knowing that, one, they don't make enough money to where a financial advisor or financial professional is calling them, but two, when you think about financial education, it's really best reflected based off someone's experience. And so we make sure that we get vetted financial professionals in there, which is why another aspect in which we've gotten national attention is that our partnership with Regions Bank to help them solidify some of the CRA requirements has actually grown this project to be the one in which they deployed the most amount of volunteers across the country. And so there's other financial institutions that have reached out to us because they are being slapped on the hand with these different CRA initiatives, but they don't have an entry point that has sustainable impact and solutions that show a better quality of life for the different residents. One of the highlights for the faculty and the staff is the amount of student loans that were forgiven. We all know through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, there was a lot of ambiguity when it pertains to how to navigate through that. We had a total of probably about 5 or 6 workshops to support our educators and those that are in the public sector with that. And the fact that we have, due to receipts, this isn't any just forecasting, we are getting the attachment with the forgiveness letter and, and also some tears that may say, thank you, I'm a single mom, I got 2 kids, I was trying to figure out how I was going to pay this $480 a month. So there is this trifecta impact that we are excited about, but also, the results that we've been able to see from our first year. So we have two of our seniors from our first year is now sophomores at UAB. And we brought them back to do an interview to learn more about how they've been able to implement this information now that they are in this second phase of life. And that interview was truly incredible on how much money they've been able to save, how much their credit has been able to increase. But this is part of the celebration. Even as we were sitting here talking about some of the issues around violent crime, a part of some of the information that we've shared is our financial empowerment blueprint. This goes back 5 years to 2019. One of the elements that we pulled, and this is something I am curious about the Eastlake Project, is the correlation between violent crime and the average credit score in communities. FICO did a study on that, and there were 99 counties that hit that list. Jefferson County was one of them. So even if we zoom in on a neighborhood perspective, there is this number that we can use when it pertains to the financial health of a community, an individual, and a household, and how that can be an indicator. We're not saying once you increase your credit, you're going to stop shooting for it. That's not what we're saying. But it does give us an indicator on one's ability to see options when it pertains to their resources, but also what they deem as potential sacrifices. So there's a good bit of information in there that we can roll through. I shared a lot more detailed information when we met with the Committee of the Whole in regards of the impact from our one-on-one consultations, and then as our workshops, and then to Councilwoman Clark's question in regards to the third party. So Texas Tech University is who we're looking at engaging with to be able to support us on that. We've had a few different consultants and advisors to support. One of the things that our team brought up is that we wanted to make sure that someone could honestly audit the cultural component of looking at programs like this, because there are historical elements when you think about building wealth in a Black community that sometimes someone may not have that type of filter when we look at some of those qualitative ways that impact the results that we have. And so we're engaging with different colleges and universities to be able to reflect that, and also some additional comments in regards of national attention. As we know, the city of Birmingham was selected for the Sustainable Cities Fund through Bloomberg, and our results through the Financial Freedom Project is what landed us there. So we are part of the Sustainable Cities Fund, and this will provide additional resources. There's also additional financial institutions that will be supporting us on this work. And so it has truly been incredible, because as we were in New York, as we go down to Mobile, as we scale out to Georgia, the consistent comment is that this was launched here in Birmingham. And so I'll pause to see if there's any questions.
Thank you.
I was just going to say, take a breath, Isaac.
Well, it's time restriction. Y'all had a 12:04. It's 12:14.
Well, we can't start before 12:04. We can start after 12:04.
Got it.
But I do want to just let you know how important I know how hard it is to deploy things in the city schools.
Yep.
I feel like you can come in here and toot your own horn. It would be helpful if we had a third-party evaluator or the school system sort of vouching for the impact that it's making, just so it's not just you saying, hey, I'm great, I'm doing a great job with this $1 million. I'm just telling you that, I think it's important that we do this for our students, and I know it's hard to get into the class day because they are all trying to teach the standards. But I think just going forward, if we're going to continue to invest, those are things you really should develop, the real impact evaluation of this, because it's a lot of money.
Well, absolutely, and it's also a lot of impact. One of the things that we'll be able to share is video testimonies from different principals, different educators in the classroom, through our questioning, because we went to all of the different schools to interview them. The one question that we ask consistently is like, what do we need to change? What is one thing that you want us to change?
So you're getting some feedback.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the comment was, can you come more? That was the main comment
Come
from
more
the
often?
Yes.
So the numbers we're looking at is for both years combined?
No, the numbers is from last year. The numbers that have an asterisk next to it, which is the student loan forgiveness, those reflect both years combined.
Cumulative. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you so much. Now, at this time, we're ready for the vote.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, thank you. That item passes. Next item, my count is we're on
Item 53.
53, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Item 53, which is on the addendum, is a resolution appointing 2 members to the Birmingham Library Board. 1 member to fill the unexpired term of Jermaine Johnson resigned. Said term expiring December 31st, 2026, and 1 member, said term expiring December 31st, 2028.
Move the item. Second. All right, Counselor Woods.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Workforce Development Committee interviewed, had a pretty much full day of interviews for the 2 board seats for the Birmingham Library Board. We will appoint Ms. Sherry Dorch to fill the unexpired term of Mona Lisa, and Dr. Nadia Monique Johnson to fill the unexpired term of Jermaine Johnson. You should have a packet with both of those resumes included.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Counselor Abbott?
Only one question. The one member that's being appointed to a term expiring December 31st, 2028, did someone resign, or that's just a vacant position because the term ended?
There were 2 resignations.
Okay.
Miss Mona Lisa resigned, as well as Mr. Jermaine Johnson.
Okay, okay. So her name's missing, but I got it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we're ready to call for the vote.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you. At this time, we're glad to bring these 2 members to the library board. Thank you very much, Councilor Woods. Yes, Councilor Woods. All right, at this time, councilors, if you would allow us, do you want to go ahead and let our community voices speak, and then if you want to abbreviate our announcements?
Yeah, I just have one major announcement, Madam Pro Tem.
Yes, Councilor Moore.
Yeah, so the Public Park and Recreation Board of the City of Birmingham has some vacancies. So it's a 3-member board created to acquire, enlarge, improve, expand, own, lease, operate, and dispose of properties to the end that such corporation may be able to promote public interest and participation in sports, athletics, and recreational activities, and to provide or improve public parks. The qualifications for this role is residents. You must be a resident of the city of Birmingham, a registered voter, and over the age of 21 years. You must be a taxpayer and a real property owner. The length of the term is 6 years. And how to apply, we want to make sure that you go to www.birmingham.gov/boards-and-agencies. Select the Public Park and Recreation Board of the City of Birmingham option, select apply, and follow the steps. In addition to that, applicants can send their letters of interest or resumes to terry.chapman@birminghamal.gov. For additional information or questions, just please email Terry or call our office at 205-254-2853.
Thank you. And Counselor, I'll come back and ask you later, because of those applications that you have open, those vacancies, do you have any that are eligible to come back, or how many of those vacancies are?
I'll make sure that I get that information for you to provide that.
All right, thank you very much. All right, thank you. Councilors, we're just going down the line. Councilor Abbott, do you have any announcements?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Yes.
Tonight, there's the Forest Park South Avondale Neighborhood Meeting at the Avondale Library. It's at 6:30. This coming Monday will be Glen Iris at St. Elias Maronite Catholic Church, also at 6:30. Let's see. And we still have, well, no, our window has closed on the Birmingham Planning Commission. That was the 30th, so that's good for me. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Abbott. Councilor Smitherman?
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Oakwood Place neighborhood will not be meeting today. They will be meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m. at Harrison Park Recreation Center. This is due to today's election. Was it District 52? But Mason City will still meet today via teleconference at 4:30 p.m. The dial-in number is 712-778017, and the code is 843426. North Titusville will meet tomorrow at Memorial Park Rec Center at 5 p.m. And then West End Manor will not meet this Monday, but they will meet on Tuesday, October 15th at 5 p.m. at New Hope Baptist Church. The next Budget and Finance meeting will be Monday, October 14th at 3:30 p.m. Submissions are due October 9th by noon. As the mayor mentioned, the Joe Mentor opening ceremony will be held this Thursday at the Mark Steele Building across from Memorial Park, and that will be at 5:30. And then Empower Birmingham will have One Love, a community day / picnic this Saturday from 1 to 4 at the West End Walking Trail. And then next Tuesday, DA Carr will be hosting his annual Second Chance Hiring Fair. I helped him to coordinate the expungement clinic part and voter registration. So if you're an attorney, we need help with the expungement clinic. If you're not an attorney, voter registration, it'll be next Tuesday from 10 to 2 at the Boutwell. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Smitherman. Councilor Tate?
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Wylam Neighborhood Meeting will be held tonight at 6 p.m. at the Wylam Library located at 4300 7th Avenue North. Thomas Neighborhood will meet tonight at 6 p.m. at the Mount Hebron Baptist Church, 503 5th Street, Birmingham, Alabama. Pacifico Finley Neighborhood Meeting will be held Wednesday, October the 2nd, at 5:30 at the Pacifico Community Room located at 1500 32nd Avenue North. Central Pratt Neighborhood will be held on next Monday, October the 7th at 6 p.m. at the Howard Sanford Park, or you can call in at 720-740-9732. Passcode is 348888. Sherman Heights Neighborhood Meeting will be held virtually on next Monday, October the 7th at 6 p.m. And you can dial in also by calling 952-206-4918, passcode 223418, and also they meet in person as well as the Morning Star Christian Church located at 1600 Slayton Avenue. The next public safety meeting will be held Tuesday, October the 8th at 1 p.m. Please submit agenda items by email on Wednesday, October the 2nd, no later than 12 noon to gregory.stanley@birminghamal.gov or patrice.collins@birminghamal.gov. If you have questions, feel free to call the office at 254-2302 at 254-2096. Also, I want to invite everybody out to come to 205 in Park, October the 11th. It's a replication of, if you remember, 106 in Park. They used to be on TV, BET. So we call it 205 in Park. So this is our high school event. We changed to Let's Talk Peace, Healing, and Safety with Councilor Tate to the 205 in Park. So that's it, Madam President, for my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tate. We do not have a quorum.
No, ma'am.
So we don't have any business that we're taking care of. So I'll continue with my announcements, and then hopefully we'll have somebody else come back and join us. These are announcements for District 7. Wednesday, October 3rd, there's the bulk trash and brush pickup scheduled for Jones Valley, Hillman Park, and West Brownsville. Friday, the Jones Valley Neighborhood Association will meet at 4 p.m. in the Powderly Library, and that's at 3301 Jefferson Avenue Southwest. And on Tuesday, October 8th, the Administration and Government Affairs Committee will meet at 2 p.m. in the council chambers. That concludes our announcements for today. Mrs. Abbott?
I was trying to be so fast, I forgot to say that I sent all the members of the council an email about the short-term rentals. And so don't let that get away from you, because that's an important thing we've got going.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding us of that. So we'll look for that communication. Thank you.
The deadline's Friday.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. At this time, we do want to thank the officers who have been on duty for us this morning, Cedric Pinkard, Fred Burks, and Devonta Parnell. And at this time, we'll entertain community voices.
Okay, the first speaker is Judy Woods.
And Lawrence Phillips back. How did I miss? And Lawrence Phillips, thank you. I'm sorry. They're protecting us well. Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Woods. You have 3 minutes, and we're happy to see you.
I will only take 2. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and certainly thank you for the opportunity to our very capable mayor and the city council here in Birmingham. I wanted to take this opportunity to invite you all personally to an event that Operation Hope is having in District 7 on Thursday, October 3rd. The event is called Uplift Birmingham. Actually, it's a 2-for-1. It's called Uplift Birmingham. And UPLIFT is an acronym for Understanding, Promoting, and Leveraging Financial Literacy. And Isaac, he's gone, but he's one of my fans. We call each other and sort of like, what are you doing? We're doing this and that kind of thing. But that's going to involve community partners. We're going to talk about the services that we offer, and I'm so proud to stand here and say that the city of Birmingham is a major partner with what we do here in the city. The thing that Isaac mentioned about the credit scores on Operation Hope's website, www.operationhope.org, we have a financial wellness indicator or an index where you can get credit scores on a national level. You can drill down to the state level and even down to the zip codes in your community. So those things are important to us. Uplift will include panel discussions with community partners that will include our own city councilor woman, Carol Clark, and Corey Stallworth. They will be participating with a housing and wealth building panel discussion, in addition to another event or panel discussion we will have for small business and helping in entrepreneurs to scale where they are. And the city certainly plays a great role in that. But the major thing that I wanted to share with you and call to your attention is the second part of that event is called the Aspiration Tour. That will be a fireside chat with our very capable Mayor Randall Wolfen and our Chairman and CEO, John Hope Bryant. And if you are not familiar with John Hope Bryant, he is a fire starter, all right? He is a motivation behind everything that we do. And so I just wanted to be here to make you cognizant of the fact that we are here, we are appreciative of what you're doing, and if possible, please come out and support your city council team and Operation Hope in that effort. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and that's at Greater Shiloh. Where's
Greater Shiloh Baptist Church, and I don't have the address, but I'll be sure. Did you all get copies of the flyer?
I believe we did, but I will, if you would email that back to us again.
I'll email that
then
back to you.
Some of us can post it on our page, because since that's in D7 and close to D6, I know we'd love to encourage everyone to come out. And what's the date again?
Thursday, October the 3rd. Let me just say very, very briefly as to why our chairman and CEO is having a fireside chat with Mayor Wolfen. Operation Hope is a global company. We are in every state in the United States, with the exception maybe of about 11 states. They have chosen cities from within that global outreach as to where our chairman and CEO will come and have a fireside chat with the mayors. And I am so excited because of what we're doing here, because of the vision that this city has to empower our citizens and the work that you all are doing, certainly to highlight that he has chose Birmingham. And so that's really going to be the highlight.
Thank you. We look forward to this.
All
I
right.
know
Thank you so much.
how knowledge is powerful, and so we thank you so much. Next speaker, please.
Robert Banks.
Hey, Mr. Banks, good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you.
All right, how y'all doing?
Hi.
First of all, I hate District 8 left this clock, but anyway, I'm talking about the shooting, the mass shooting that happened. I wanted to direct it last week, but the time got in my way. District 6, that be you, Ms. Smith. I find it very disrespectful for the business owners over there on the south side to not even acknowledge the 21 people that were shot. First of all, it was a memorial set out in front of Hush Lounge that was very disposed of in 3 days. That's the first thing. Second of all, I spoke to several business owners over there. Not one had any sympathy or empathy for any individual that was shot. Their main concern was letting the south side look more entertaining to those that were coming in town. And that's very sad, because we have to look at the people that make up the south side as the residents of Birmingham. Majority of the south side is being prosperity, those of residents that are black. And I'm not doing a race card or anything like that, but out of the 21 people that were shot, 11 of them was from Ensley. That goes to District 8. No one has reached out to any of the individuals or parents or anything, because I speak to them on a daily basis, of concern about their child or their nephew or their niece or anyone that has gotten shot. And I know some of y'all may be parents, some of y'all may not, but if your niece or your nephew or your child got shot and they weren't involved in anything, I'm quite sure you will be irate and angry too. I can tell the mayor putting up barricades is not going to do it. To be honest with you, what we need to do is hit the public. I've gotten with District 9 Ms. Tate, and we're going to hit the streets with the Barber versus Bush and things of that nature. But at the end, I ask each one of you again, and I've been down here numerous of times, to go inside your district, go door to door, because at any given time, no matter what district you're in, I guarantee you, guns and bullets will fly. And they don't have any name. And until we get a hold on these switches, because the switches is out the household now, they're on guns. We can't discipline our children or we get put in jail. They took God out the school system, so it's kind of hard to pray for them. So if we got to go door to door, knock on these doors, no matter what district you in. Come there, door to door. I'll go with you. I'll get some people to go with you. And we got to teach parenting skills, and we got to teach these children, because at the end of the day, that's how we lose them. We lose them because the parents don't know how to be parents. And we also lose them because the children don't know what to do. And we are at a loss right now. And until we get a hold of that, we're going to continue to have violence and mass shooting in the city of Birmingham.
Thank you, Mr. Banks. Next speaker.
Willie Jenkins.
Come on, Mr. Jenkins. Good afternoon.
I just want to let y'all know, to honor City Council Willie Jenkins, I want to let y'all know that we getting ready for the Carver High School reunion this weekend. The Mighty Rams, the Carver High School, this weekend, Saturday, North Birmingham Park, the picnic. I'm excited. We setting the tent up. All the classes are going to be there. And also, we getting ready, different fundraisers. We having different things. And also, this is a picture of me, the Men of Praise group. And this is a picture of me with my pastor, and me and Willie Jenkins. They honor me. You know, this is a little picture of me. They gave me appreciation. Next year, y'all, there's a guy named Tyson going to give me appreciation next year. So he said he's going to give me a little appreciation next year. It'll be next year, so I don't know when it's going to be. It'll be next year sometime. And so, like I said, O Street, we like our new pastor. We love our new. We lost one of our men of praise, but we holding on. We hold, O Street Baptist Church. And like I said, Women's Day coming, Women's Day, O Street Baptist Church. This is at my church. My sister, my niece, they got a poem. Linda Fleming's going to do a solo and pray that the second Sunday at O Street Baptist Church. I want everybody, all y'all to come to my church and see my new pastor, Reverend Irvin, and Women's Day. I can't think the lady's name, but she go to this church, go to the work, they had the church over there where they had my appreciation. She going to speak, but I just can't call her name. But I'm excited, you know, like I said, reunion. We've been having this reunion going on just about every year, just about the mighty Carver High School. And I hope, pray we have a successful day and everybody be safe and hope everything come out all right. A lot of folks from Carver High School, people come from out of town, everywhere, to attend this reunion. And we're glad, and all of my class is going to be there. And there's a bunch of different classes from Carver High School going to be there. A lot of activity, but everybody going to enjoy themselves, picnic, and everybody going to enjoy themselves. The mighty Carver Ram. I came out of Carver in 1973, the old Carver High School. Mr. Lowe was there. He passed, you know. And Coach Pete, we done lost a lot of people. And Carver's been winning some games. I just want to say, graduated from the mighty Carver High School football team. They going for it. And Barbara Gallen, the president alumni, I'm a member of Carver alumni, and I am the chapel, where every time we have a meeting, I pray. I'm in the chapel. So I'm looking for a great time in the time, Lord, but we have a wonderful time with the Carver High School reunion going to be this year. And hope everybody come out and enjoy themselves. Tents, they're working on now. Tents going up now, going up there. They working on it now, the Carver people. So y'all ain't got nothing to do. Come on out there and people see my class there. Come on out there, people out there at the Carver High School picnic this coming Saturday weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. We appreciate your announcements and congratulations on your recognition. And hope you all have a great reunion. Class of 73, that was a good class. Thank you. Next speaker.
Laquan Jackson.
Left out. Okay.
That's the last speaker.
All right, thank you. At this time, council, thank you all for the day, and we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you. Could we have anybody need a little
Yes.
foul break before we start?